Russell Wilson, what is it going to look like if he plays well? Well, that's a lot to unpack there because I have been on record. A lot of people have been on record saying that they believe that Justin Fields needs to win the job because then he'll be the quarterback for the next decade. I'm still a believer in that, but it doesn't seem like that this is actually a competition. It seems like this is Russ's job to lose per se. And you're not going to lose a job in OTAs. Russell Wilson's good enough. He's not going to lose a job in training camp or preseason. It's going to have to come during the season where he's going to lose this job. Having said all of that, let's take a look at what does it mean if Russ plays well. Okay, well, let's dive into that a little bit. First of all, what do we want to have happen? What does playing well actually mean for Russell Wilson? For me, I think he's got to win a playoff game. And because if he doesn't win a playoff game, and again, I know there's a lot of other factors that go into, how somebody plays well because, he could play well, throw for 400 yards and the Steelers could still lose. You know, okay, I get that. Context clearly matters. But what I'm talking about, if Russ plays well, I think they got to win a playoff game because he just plays average. Then how is that any better than what we just went through with Mitchell Trubisky and the baby hands Kenny Pickett's or the Mason Rudolphs? How's that any different? Yeah, I don't think that it is. So Russ has got to play well, and I think we've got to get a playoff victory. It has to happen. First of all, the Steelers just need that in general. I go, but for Russ, I think he's got to be that guy. Now, look, there's going to be a lot of people that talk about, well, he's not that good. He didn't play that good last year. I think he played okay last year. I really do. There's going to be a lot of people that says he can't throw over the middle, and that was a problem. Don't get me wrong, it was. But Russ, he didn't have an awful year like people are trying to make it out to be. That just didn't happen. Also, let's give Russ a little credit. It's tough to come in and play for a coach that literally doesn't want you from day one. And Sean Payton didn't want Russell Wilson from day one, but they were stuck with the contract and they had to deal with it. They even tried to get him to take less money on an injury settlement. And then when he wouldn't do it, they told him they were going to bench him. And then they didn't. They basically messed with his mind and he ended up going on a winning streak. We need to get that Russ that went on the winning streak. We need to get the Russ from not the year before with Nathaniel Hackett and when he played awful. We need before that. That's the Russ that we need. We need him to play well. And maybe he's on his last leg thinking, you know what? I got a new lease on life. I got out of a place that clearly did not want me. And it's time for me to go play some good football. I believe that's the Russell Wilson that we are going to see. Now, let's look at what the contract situation is going to be. And what type of contract do we want? If we're moving forward. And how long does he have to be here? Those kind of go hand in hand. Well, if he plays well, I think he's got to be here for 3 to 5 years. I do. Because, what we just want him here to play well 1 year, and then all of a sudden we hand the reins over to a Justin Fields who never sat or never got onto the field? No, people, that's not what we want. If Russ plays well, I think he stays. But he can't just be a 1 or 2 year thing. If he's going to be here, it's got to be a 3 to 5 year deal. Yes. And I know what people are going to say. What, Brian, you want him to be here till he's 40 years old? Quarterbacks are playing that long. He hasn't had a major injury. He hasn't had an arm or a knee or an elbow or anything like that. He doesn't have concussion issues. So he's been relatively healthy. If he can stay that way, then yeah, a 3 to 5 years, it makes sense. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we have to pay the guy $55, $60 million a year because I think that would be a mistake. But at the same time, if Russ plays well, I don't see why there's any reason why we wouldn't want him to be our quarterback for the next 3 to 5 years. And then we can go back in the draft. Let's take a look at a couple of scenarios here. So the first one, if Russ plays well and we win a playoff game, I think, yeah, we re-sign him 3 to 5 years, $40 million a year. And Russ is going to have to understand, hey, Russ, yes, we want you. We're going to give you a lot of money. But at the same time, we still got to build this roster. We're not paying you 50, 55, $60 million, man. And Russ may be at the point of, you know what? I I've made 300 plus million dollars. At this point in my career, I just want to win. I found a place that gave me a new lease on life. I just want to win. I will take that. Hopefully that's the case. Now, having somebody do that or not is a different story. But at the same time, if I'm the Steelers, that's what I do. 3 to 5 years, $40 million. Again, if he plays well. Second scenario would be Russ is playing well, but unfortunately, he gets hurt. If that were the case, Justin Fields comes in. Justin Fields doesn't play great, plays average to below average. Steelers don't make the playoffs or get to the playoffs and lose a playoff game. Then what do? I still think you sign Russ. Now, I mean, we just saw Kirk Cousins come off an Achilles injury and get a boatload of money. I don't think you do that, but I still think the 3 to 5 years for $40 million a year for Russ, because remember, he was playing well. He just got hurt. So, yes, I still believe that you sign him for that, even if he gets hurt midseason. Now, last scenario here, and don't kill me, Steeler fans. Don't crush me for this. This would literally be the nuclear situation, is if Russ plays average to bad, they decide, you know what, it's time to go to Justin Fields. Then he plays average to bad. Then what? Yeah, I think the Steelers, in that case, they would be looking for another quarterback. There'd be no reason to re-sign Russ. There would be no reason to re-sign Fields. It would be time for us to go shopping for another quarterback. Unfortunately, also in that, and a lot of people may not want to talk about this, but I'll bring it up. If that were to happen and the Steelers don't make the playoffs and they end up under 500, we're probably looking for a new head coach at the time too. Yes, I know, Brian, you're making clickbait. And no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Just think about this for a quick second, man. They haven't given Mike Tomlin that extension yet, have they? No, they haven't. And in years past, they've given it to him with 2 years left on his contract. Well, that didn't happen. And now he's got one, and he still hasn't happened. Now, it could still happen. I mean, this is the summertime. It's early. It's June. So there's time for that to still happen. I'm just saying, if the nuclear situation happens, I think it's all the way nuclear and they blow the whole thing up. That's just me. So we got a poll question for you guys. Let me just ask you guys this simple question. Would you rather see Russ or Justin sign to a multi-year deal after the season? Just simple. Which one would you rather sign? Please leave your comments, or please leave your answers in the comments, and we will go from there. But yeah, who would you guys rather see sign? Would you rather see Russ, or would you rather see Fields sign to a multi-year deal in the offseason?